What? Pregnant? How can an unmarried high school student have gotten pregnant? No daughter of mine is getting pregnant out of wedlock. This is a disgrace.
Honey, please stop this. Honey, please!
I knew that you had fallen in with the wrong crowd and were hanging around with some shady types, but I had no idea that something like this would happen. This is what happens when you diverge from the straight and narrow. You get out of my house right now! You're no longer my daughter and you are not welcome here.
Honey, you can't do this. She's your daughter. How could you be so cold-hearted and unfeeling?
She should have been more careful. I have no intention of letting an irresponsible girl who can't even look after herself stay here. Get out of my house right now. Right this instant. Why are you still standing there?
Reginald, please calm down. Clara, please do something to try and stop your father-in-law. Joy is going to get beaten to death at this rate.
Just get out. Get out, I said.
My father-in-law has always had a short temper, and hearing about my sister-in-law's unplanned pregnancy pushed him over the edge and really made him see red. Now I know that the news of a pregnancy is something that a lot of people celebrate and congratulate the parents, and if Joy was happily married according to my father-in-law's traditional values, he might have done just that. However, not only was she not married when she got pregnant, she was also still in high school. She was in her final year and not too far away from graduation, but any hope of finishing her education was dashed when the truth about her pregnancy came out. The whole family went into panic mode when they found out about her pregnancy. My father-in-law wouldn't listen to reason and just yelled and screamed at her to get out of the house and never show her face again. All I could do in that situation, when my mother-in-law was clinging on to me and begging for help while my father-in-law was smashing things around the house, was do my best to try and stop him. My sister-in-law took advantage of the chaos and ran out of the house, disappearing from our lives. The next we heard of her was a few months later, but she didn't come back home. We just knew that she had been by because of the surprise she left us.
I can't believe that stupid girl. Is she serious? How could she do such a thing?
Let's calm down a little, okay? I'm sure she has her reasons for taking the decision she took.
Even so, how could she just abandon her own baby on her parents' doorstep and run away like that? And not to mention how irresponsible it was to leave a newborn baby outside in this freezing winter weather. What if we hadn't found her when we did? If something had happened to the poor little thing, it would be entirely her mother's fault. I don't know what she was thinking.
I agree that what she did wasn't right, but there's no point in getting irate over it. Getting angry isn't going to solve any of the problems we have right now, is it? Will getting mad like that make your sister come back? Can she hear any of the curses you're throwing at her right now? No, she can't. You and your dad are just as bad as each other. You just waste your energy pointlessly getting angry at someone who isn't even here.
I'm sorry, honey. But this isn't something that we can just forgive her for and move on from. She's landed a burden on my parents they never asked for, and she was also willing to put her own child in danger. It just makes me so angry that she didn't think about anybody but herself in this situation.
It is a situation that I never could have imagined happening, especially in this family. But I suppose nobody ever wants to think that anyone is ever really capable of abandoning a newborn baby, whatever the circumstances.
My dad is so angry now that he can't contain himself. He keeps saying to get rid of the baby immediately, but my mom is refusing and holding tightly onto her grandchild.
I know that she probably feels emotionally attached to the baby, but honestly speaking, they're not in a situation to be raising a baby. They're not getting any younger and their bodies aren't what they used to be. Their house also isn't really equipped for looking after a baby either.
Well, I don't really know what else they can do in this situation.
Hi, Gertrude. I'm here. Oh, Gertrude. Why are you sleeping so uncomfortably on the sofa like that? If you're tired, you should be sleeping in your bedroom. Shh! Will you please be quiet? The baby has only just gone off to sleep, and if you yell like that, she's going to wake up again. I'm so sorry. But sleeping with your body all hunched like that isn't good for your back. You shouldn't sleep in such an uncomfortable place. I suppose my back is hurting a lot. It was like this all night, you see. All night? Is it really that hard to get the baby down to sleep?
Yes, it really is that hard. She's just like her mother when she was a baby, always complaining about something.
Right.
How could I let go of this precious child? How could I leave my grandchild in the care of a stranger? My baby daughter's baby. I could never do it. I could never do it, I'm telling you. How can your father-in-law be so cold-hearted about the whole thing? Surely he can see that as her grandparents, it's our obligation to look after this baby. He keeps threatening to take her and give her up for adoption, saying that we need to get rid of her.
Okay, first, let's try and calm down. You're just going to wake up the baby and have her start crying again.
You know, I daren't take my eyes off of her for a second. I'm too worried that he's going to take her away and give her up for adoption while I'm not looking. I'm so scared that I can't even let go of her. I'm too scared to even sleep. That's why I'm sleeping here on the couch right now. I only feel comfortable sleeping when he's out of the house and he can't snatch her off me. How could he be so cruel as to turn away this sweet baby who looks so much like our daughter? His heart is frozen. He's not even human!
Gertrude, I understand that you're upset right now, but acting hysterical isn't going to get you anywhere. And this obsessing over never letting the baby out of your sight is clearly taking a toll on both your physical and mental health. Whenever you see your husband, you just fight with each other and scream and shout, which isn't good for the baby either. I know it's hard to hear, but I think that giving her up for adoption may be the best option for everyone involved here.
No, I can't have it. I won't have it. I'm not letting go of my baby.
But Gertrude…
How about you take her in? Yes, that's a great idea. You can just raise her as your own.
Excuse me?
You two don't have any kids anyway. You might as well just take this opportunity and have your sister-in-law's daughter become your own daughter. That's what we'll do. That will be the best solution. That way I can go to see her all the time, and I won't have to worry about her being given up for adoption anymore. Why didn't I think of this earlier?
What are you talking about, Gertrude? We don't have any children because it's still too early for us to have even started trying. We're just not ready to have kids yet. We're not in a stable enough situation right now.
What do you mean? You're in a perfectly good situation to look after her. And think about it. This way you can get a ready-made baby without going through the pain and stress of pregnancy and childbirth. This is a win-win situation. I know that you think of my daughter as if she were your own sister. Since she's family, shouldn't you be loving your niece as if she is your own child anyway?
But Gertrude…
Please! I'm begging you here. I'm desperate. Think of her as your own baby and raise her well. If she stays here, then it's only going to be a matter of time before your father-in-law takes her away from me. Please just take her right now and leave before he gets home. Hurry!
My mother-in-law shoved the baby into my arms and chased me out of the house, anxious that her husband could come back at any second. In the cold winter, only the warm body of the baby in my arms and her occasional cries as she was startled by a passing car or the voices of strangers were keeping my dazed mind awake. I tried to get back inside my mother-in-law's house after she pushed me out, but she refused to let me in. She just kept repeating, "Take her and run before your father-in-law gets home." Hearing the frenzied desperation in her voice made me realize that she really wasn't in her right mind, and the disappearance of her daughter and suddenly having her grandchild dumped on her had really taken a mental toll on her. Her wailing as she sobbed sounded like the cries of an animal, and I guess it kind of spooked me into taking action, as I decided to take the baby home with me. I imagine my expression when I walked into my mother-in-law's house to see my mother-in-law huddled up on the sofa in the dark, clutching the baby as if her life depended on it, was similar to the expression on my husband's face when he saw me come into the house holding the baby. A dazed expression on my face. After a discussion with my husband, we came to the conclusion that his parents were in no position to be raising the baby, and we decided to raise her ourselves. We realized that there was no use in further pushing the issue of putting her up for adoption, because it became clear that would push my mother-in-law over the edge. I think the reason she wanted to so desperately cling to the baby is because she saw her as a piece of the daughter she had lost, and she wanted to hold on to that no matter what. However, raising a child is no easy task. Even if it had been my own child, I think I still would have struggled a lot, But it was all a million times harder because the child wasn't mine, and I hadn't had the time to mentally prepare for motherhood. On top of all of that, the baby was incredibly sensitive and cried at the drop of a hat.
Ugh, I am so sick and tired of this already. Why won't she ever stop crying? I can't sleep a wink because of the sound of constant crying. I'm so exhausted, I think I might just die.
Why are you acting like this is all my fault? What are you doing getting angry at me for? Am I the one who made the baby cry? No. So what have I done wrong?
Well, you must have done something wrong because it couldn't have been me. You're the one who looks after the baby all day long, so you must have done something wrong during the day for her to be up crying all night. Just make sure she goes down to sleep already. Can you just at least get her to be calm?
Well, you said it there. What have you done towards looking after this baby? After all, she's not my baby. She's not my flesh and blood. She's the baby your sister abandoned. She's your niece, so you should be the one raising her, not me. Why should I have to go through all of this? I'm the only one having a hard time right now. Just take a look at my hair. It's all falling out from the stress, and I'm getting even less sleep than you are.
Do you really think that I don't do anything? How dare you say that to me? I can't sleep at night because the baby's crying keeps me up. But I still get out of bed at 6:30 in the morning and go to work every day in order to keep you clothed and fed. And anyway, if you hadn't accepted the baby when my mom gave her to you, then none of this would have happened. Why did you agree to take her back then? Your decision then was the cause of all our suffering.
I didn't agree to take her. Your mom forced her on me. Your mom was crying and screaming like a madwoman and clinging on to the baby for dear life for fear that your dad would take her away. So what was I supposed to do? Just leave her like that? Or should I have just abandoned the baby on someone's doorstep for a second time? Is that what you would have wanted me to do?
So are you saying that this whole thing is all my mom's fault?
Well, isn't it her fault? Well, to be honest, the person most at fault here is your sister. She's the one who abandoned her newborn baby and disappeared without a trace. It's not fair that the person who created this situation is somewhere far away and I'm the only one suffering. Why do I have to sit here and listen to you blame me for everything? Ugh! I really am losing my mind here.
Ugh, seriously.
This is so hard. This is so hard. Why am I the only one suffering here? I didn't give birth to this child. I didn't ask for this child. I barely ever fought with my husband before she came into the picture. My life was pretty easy before I had to deal with her. Should I just leave and disappear? If I leave and don't look back, then I won't have to deal with the responsibility of looking after this kid anymore. Should I wait until I'm somewhere far away and then file for divorce? I can start afresh somewhere new. After all, I would have no legal obligation to the child since we're not related by blood. Mama! Huh? What was that? Mama! Oh? Did you just call me Mama? Mama? Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! How? From this tiny mouth? If I'm being completely honest, hearing the baby call me Mama didn't make me magically start loving her as my own child. If things were that simple, then things like postpartum depression wouldn't exist. But what that tiny little mouth saying that one simple word did make me realize is that just as much as none of us adults had asked for the situation, neither had this poor little helpless baby. She never asked to be abandoned by her mother. She never asked to be taken in by me and my husband. Even though we felt like we had no choice in the matter, this powerless baby had even less choice. It had taken me a really long time to fully realize and process that. From that day forwards, I decided to completely change my perspective on the situation and how I saw the baby. I stopped thinking of her as my sister-in-law's baby who was forced upon me when I didn't want her, and instead I made the conscious decision to start thinking of her as my own daughter. All it took was a change in my way of thinking to start having a completely new attitude towards raising this baby. As I stopped being angry and bitter all the time, My husband also started to change for the better. He apologized for unreasonably yelling at me all those times and started to properly help me out with looking after the baby. Even though he still didn't feel 100% comfortable with a baby who looked exactly like the sister who ran away, whenever she smiled, he couldn't help but smile with her. And he started to be a real dad to her. After turning a year old, the baby gradually became calmer. She started crying less and smiling more, and she also began to sleep through the night. The screaming terror that made sure we didn't get any sleep became sweet, docile, and quiet. It really was crazy how everything could do a complete 180 in less than a year, and our lives became completely different. My mother-in-law had said that she wanted to name the baby Joy because of the joy she felt when she saw her face and got reminded of her missing daughter. At first, I didn't really like the name because I felt like she brought me anything but joy. But after she called me Mama and I had my epiphany, I started thinking that the name suited her a lot.
Oh my goodness, my sweet baby! How can she be so pretty? I can't believe she's already a year old. It just makes me think of my poor lost daughter.
Honey? Did you invite my mom by any chance? I'm worried that she might start saying weird stuff to the baby again if we keep her around for too long.
I'm sorry, honey. I didn't actually invite her, but she just showed up at the house because she remembered that today was Joy's first birthday and she was asking if we were having a party.
You don't need to apologize. It's not your fault.
Your mom should be coming to see you since it's your first birthday, my sweet Joy. I just need to know whether she's dead or alive. That's all.
Mom, please just stop with this already. Joy is our daughter now. We're planning to adopt her legally as soon as we can. She's not my sister's daughter anymore. She forfeited the right to be her mother when she disappeared without a trace. I really don't appreciate that you start making a fuss about this every single time you come to visit. Have you ever thought about the fact that you might just end up confusing her by talking about this?
How can you be so cold-hearted? Don't you miss your sister at all? I'm sure my granddaughter misses her real mom, in her heart of hearts.
Can you please just stop saying things like that? Joy's mom is standing right here. If you keep saying these kinds of things in front of her, you might interfere with their mother-daughter relationship.
My poor daughter. I can't even say she's her own daughter's mom anymore. You're a terrible brother for telling me that I can't say that, you know.
Did I steal the child away from her? She's the one who abandoned her and ran away. Why are you getting angry at me?
Come on, honey. Let's stop this now. Listen, Joy's crying because she can hear that Daddy is upset. Gertrude, I would appreciate if you would stop now and get out of my house before you cause a bigger disturbance. We were planning on celebrating Joy's birthday with just the three of us anyway.
What? How can you do this to me? She's not even your real daughter and you're denying other family members access to her birthday party. You should be making a big deal out of her turning one instead of just getting a pathetic-looking cake she can't even eat and singing half-heartedly. You're both terrible people.
It's normal for people to keep first birthdays fairly low-key these days. We don't have anyone to invite anyway. I think the best way to celebrate is having a quiet and cozy little party for our family of 3.
You just don't care about her enough to throw her a real party. You're a horrible person. You're not treating her how she should be treated because you don't love her because she's not your real daughter.
Mom! I really am speechless. Just get out already. Honey, you take the baby and go into the bedroom until she's gone.
Okay, I will.
You can't just make me leave like that. Let me see my granddaughter. Everyone look. My son is throwing his own mother out onto the street just for wanting what's best for her grandchild.
You have no idea how much Clara has been through trying to raise Joy. If this is all you have to say to her, then you can never come back here again. I'm going to cut ties with you completely.
Funnily enough, the person who ended up being the biggest interference in me raising my daughter was not my husband, nor my father-in-law, but actually my mother-in-law. Whenever she came over, she just talked constantly about my sister-in-law, which started to take a toll on us. Our daughter was at the stage where she was likely to remember things that were repeatedly told her, and we worried that if her grandmother kept talking about her real mother to her, then she may end up getting confused. She even said that I wasn't looking after my daughter properly and that I was even being cruel to her because she isn't my biological child. I tried not to take it to heart because it really was starting to seem like my mother-in-law was losing her mind over worrying about her missing daughter. It was becoming increasingly difficult having her around my daughter. So much so that I would have even rather had my father-in-law, who didn't want anything to do with the baby, around instead of her. My husband really did follow through with his threat, and we cut ties with his parents for good. We were able to live much more peaceful lives after that. And before I knew it, that tiny baby had grown up and become a high school student. Hi, Mom! I'm back! Oh, hi, sweetheart. Did you have a good day at school? Come over here and sit down. Dinner will be ready soon. What's for dinner today, Mom? I made your favorite omelets. Wow! I was craving omelets all day at school today. How did you know, Mom? Are you telepathic or something? Well, you pretty much always crave omelets, so it's always a good bet to make some for you. It's all ready now, so eat up before it gets cold. Thank you so much! Oh, by the way, Mom, I got the highest score in the whole school on my midterms again this semester. Oh, really? How do you know already? I thought the grades hadn't officially come out yet. No, they haven't, but my homeroom teacher took me aside and told me in advance. Apparently, I got full marks in every single subject again. She said there was not a single thing to correct on any of my papers. That's amazing! You've never even had any extra tutoring, so how can you be getting perfect scores on all your tests every single time? You're so incredibly smart. My homeroom teacher already said that she doesn't think I'm going to have any problems getting into my dream college at this rate. Are you still aiming to get into Harvard Medical School? Yes! My dream is still to join Doctors Without Borders and help people from all over the world. After I've worked in the field for a few years, I would like to come back and work on opening a private hospital and provide the best healthcare I possibly can to people. I can't believe how grown up you are. You always say such mature things. Well, it's because you raised me so well, Mom. If I had been raised by somebody else, I know for sure that I wouldn't have turned out like this. Well, you certainly do take after me. But it's good to be confident in yourself. Then you can assure your success in life. I'll always be cheering you on, no matter what. You know that, right? Of course. I know that you will always be in my corner, Mom. That's right. I always will be. Oh, it's an unknown number. I wonder who it could be.
Hi there. Is this Joy's mother?
Yes, that's right. Are you by any chance one of her teachers from school?
Oh, no. I'm nothing to do with the school. My name is Derek Johnson.
And why are you calling me today, may I ask?
I'll just get straight to the point here. I think that Joy might be my daughter.
Excuse me? What are you talking about?
I know that this may be a shock to you, but I also just recently found out that I have a teenage daughter. Would you mind meeting up and talking about this in person?
Right now?
Well, I suppose I am free now. Would you be able to come to the Magnolia Cafe on Oak Street? Yes, I can head over there straight away. So you actually met up with him? What about Joy?
I went to meet him alone before she came back from school.
It was dangerous for you to have gone to meet him alone. What if something had happened?
Well, I chose to meet him in a busy cafe so that he wouldn't be able to do anything to me even if he was a shady character. If he did try something, then there would be lots of people around.
So what did he say?
He said that he found out about Joy's existence while trying to find your sister. Have you heard of GN Corporation by any chance?
Well, sure I have. Everyone knows about them. They're the most famous company in our city. They probably have several subsidiaries, and it's likely huge, right?
Well, apparently, he's the youngest son of the CEO of that company. He gave me his business card, and it seems that he is currently running one of the subsidiaries.
Oh my goodness. How did my sister get involved with someone like him?
Apparently, he dated your sister for a little while in high school, but he already had a fiancée chosen for him by his father in order to make a business alliance with another company. Your sister apparently knew about this, but still dated him. And that's why she didn't tell him when she found out that she was pregnant.
Honestly, this whole thing just sounds like the plot of a soap opera.
He said that he didn't know about her getting pregnant or about her running away and disappearing, but a mutual friend mentioned her to him recently and he thought he would try and reach out. He wasn't able to find her, but he did end up finding out about Joy's existence. At least, that's what he told me.
It sounds a little bit too much like the plot of a novel to be true to me.
I think it at least was true that he dated your sister for a while in high school. The time period he was talking about was the time that it would have been, and he gave a lot of details about their relationship. If he had just made the whole thing up, then I doubt he would have been able to include such particular details.
So are you saying that he really is Joy's biological father?
That does seem to be the case.
But why would he come and disrupt her life now when she's happy and stable? Are you planning on saying anything to Joy?
No, I'm not planning on saying anything about this to her just yet.
But why? I guess ultimately whether she wants to meet him and consider a relationship with him is up to her at the end of the day.
I just felt a little strange about the whole thing.
What do you mean, strange?
I can't really describe it as anything other than a woman's intuition. I just felt like something was off while I was talking to him. I can't put my finger on exactly what was wrong, but there was something about him that didn't make me feel comfortable. And of course, now he shows up out of the blue years later, saying he's the son of a rich CEO and that he wants to take our daughter away doesn't exactly make me too happy either. He didn't even say that he wanted to meet her first. He didn't seem to be at all worried about how this would affect her mental health either. You could say that he was far more focused on talking about himself than he was on talking about her.
Ah, really?
I think that first we should do a little background check on him. If he's in the clear after that, then we can tell Joy about it.
Okay. If that's what you think is best, I'll look into hiring a private investigator to tail him.
When I was sitting across from the man claiming to be my daughter's biological father, looking at him smiling dazzlingly at me, I felt a feeling of wrongness I don't think I've ever felt before creep across my entire body. Sometimes it just happens. You have no obvious reason to feel suspicious of someone, but your intuition is screaming at you to run from them. I think that men don't quite experience the same thing. It's a woman's sixth sense, her intuition, likely developed to help her avoid dangerous situations. While talking to the man who was supposedly my daughter's biological father, every single thing he said or did sent alarm bells going off in my head. My husband listened to what I said, and we agreed to hire a private investigator to tail this guy. Instead of a traditional private investigator, the guy we ended up hiring was a well-known paparazzo who was very experienced in following the rich and famous and exposing them. He was just as interested in finding out the dark secrets of a big corporation's youngest son as we were, and it ended up taking him less than 3 weeks to find the cause of my uneasiness. Thank you so much for all your hard work. I can't believe you found what we were looking for in such a short amount of time.
Oh, this is nothing for me. Don't you worry. I'm only doing my job. It's always advantageous to have information on a rich business family like the MCN Corporation family, so this has been beneficial to me as well. This scoop is going to make me a lot of money, you know.
I can imagine, considering the influence of their company. But I would just like to ask that you make sure that no harm comes to my daughter during this process.
Don't worry. I'll make sure she's completely left out of it. I am a father of 2 daughters myself, so I completely understand how you must be feeling. I would never publish anything that brings harm to children's well-being. And to be honest, even though I'll be able to make a decent amount of money from it, it's unfortunately probably not going to scandalize people that much. It's hardly surprising when the sons of rich CEOs turn out to be scumbags engaging in illegal activities. However, I do have to say that what this guy's been up to is even worse than what I had been thinking.
Oh my goodness. Well, what exactly has he been up to then?
Well, let me think how exactly the best way for me to tell you this. It may make you a little uncomfortable, since this is an issue that involves your family.
It's fine. I want you to tell me everything without sparing any details.
Okay then. Well, I will get straight to the point and tell you that guy is nothing but a piece of trash. I think that your sister-in-law got herself involved with a very shady character indeed.
What exactly do you mean by that? He definitely didn't look like trash when I met him.
I think a lot of people end up getting deceived by his appearances. Just by looking at him and having a conversation with him, I don't think you would be able to imagine what terrible things he's been up to. First of all, that business card he gave you was a total fake.
Oh, really? So he isn't running a subsidiary of his father's company?
No, he isn't. He's using running a subsidiary of his father's company as a front. It's a paper company. It only exists for him to line his pockets and look like a legitimate businessman in front of other people.
So he lied about helping his father run the main company as well then, I assume.
Of course he did. The truth is far from that. He shows up looking presentable at official events, all right, but apart from that, he doesn't really seem to have anything to do with the company.
Oh my goodness.
He has another source of income in the shadows. I'm sure you know about the kinds of pimps who gather women under the guise of offering them support.
What? Then, if he's a pimp, then that means…
Yes, it's exactly what you're thinking. He lends money to vulnerable women, mostly knowing that they won't be able to pay it back. And then when they inevitably can't, he has them work as prostitutes in order to pay him back. He really is the scum of the earth.
I can't believe this.
You said that you met your sister-in-law when she was in high school, right? It seems very likely that he was still doing the same thing back then. I'm pretty certain that he is your daughter's biological father, and that he has known this the whole time.
So, essentially, everything that he told me was a lie.
Yes, that is correct. I think it would be best for you to listen to this recording. It's a recording of one of his calls that it was quite difficult for me to get a hold of, but it is very definitely incriminating. Hey Joe, how are you doing? Me? Oh, you know, the same as ever. People are being as reckless with their money as always, and I'm profiting from it, of course. You have an open space over there, don't you? Well, it's just that I found that daughter I had. Oh no, not from the time I caused a fight with my fiancé. It was around 16 years ago and there was that girl. I forget her name, but she was really pretty. Yeah, that's right, the one I met in the club. Yeah, we messed around for a while because she was so good looking I couldn't pass up the opportunity. She ended up getting pregnant and her old man kicked her out of the house. So she came to me asking for help, and of course I said I didn't want to know anything about it. I know better than to have a girl like that stuck to me, being nothing but a financial drain. What would a pregnant girl with nothing but a pretty face be to me anyway? After I said I wasn't interested, she disappeared, and it seemed that she left the baby on her family's doorstep after giving birth and then ran off again. Her older brother and his wife have been raising her as their own this whole time. I got a glimpse of her face, and she's really pretty. Yes, that's right. She's the spitting image of her mom. She'd be sure to knock him dead. Not only is she as pretty as her mom, she also seems to be pretty smart, so I thought she would be a great addition to your team, Joe. I know that a lot of VVIP clients go there, so we can't be sending them dumb girls who can't hold a conversation now, can we? I'm telling you, she'd be the perfect fit. Yeah, of course I'm going to try and persuade the older brother and his wife to let me take her. After all, I am her biological father, so I technically have the right. I'm sure if I give them a little bit of money as well, they'll keep their noses out. Negotiate? I don't think there will be any need for that. I'm sure they'll be satisfied if I put her in expensive clothes and send photos of her looking happy to them every now and again. They'll be appeased. It won't be long until I bring her over to you, so make sure you get things ready for her. I'll be making you a lot of money here, you know, Joe. But in return, you're going to have to give me a couple of girls in return, okay? Are you saying you don't trust me? I'll bring her to see you soon enough, and then you'll see what I mean. As soon as you have her on offer, all the richest clients are going to be flocking to your place, I guarantee it. Did you not bring Joy with you? I really did want to see her today.
She's at school right now, you know. I haven't even told her about you yet either.
Oh, really? But I'm sure she would love to meet her real dad. I know for sure that I'm desperate to meet her.
Oh, no, she doesn't actually know that my husband and I are not her biological parents. We've never explained the situation to her before. Her birth was registered as if she were our biological child.
Even so, now that we've found each other, it would be good for her to spend some time with me, don't you think? She needs to know the truth eventually, and I'm sure she'll come around to the idea once we've had some father-daughter bonding time. I really do want to be a part of her life, you know.
You are the most shameless person I've ever met. Your little act even almost fooled me, and I know the truth about you.
What do you mean by shameless? I know that I wasn't able to be in her life while she was growing up, but I still think that it's a little harsh for you to say that to me. I had no idea she existed until now, so there was nothing else I could have done.
You had no idea she existed until now? Is that really true?
Are you trying to insinuate that I've been lying to you? How was I supposed to know about her when I didn't hear anything from her mother?
Then I'll ask you one thing. You said that you wanted to see Joy, right?
Well, yes, of course I do. She's my daughter.
Then what about her mother? Do you not want to see her? Do you not miss her?
Huh? Oh, of course I miss her. And of course I would love to see her if I could.
For somebody who misses her so much, you sure do talk very little about her. Ever since you first got in touch, all you've done is talk about Joy and haven't mentioned her mother at all.
Well, I suppose I just thought she probably had her reasons for not wanting to see me and not telling me about our daughter for so long. I assume she must have all sorts going on in her personal life if she had ended up leaving the child with you to raise.
No, that's not it. You just never had any interest in her at all. Isn't that right? That's why when she came to find you after she found out she was pregnant, you were willing to toss her aside like she was nothing.
What are you even saying right now? All I want is to make up for lost time and build a relationship with the daughter I never knew I had. Are you acting like this because you're afraid I'm going to take her away from you?
Well, you're not going to be taking her away from us. I never had any intention of letting you take her in the first place.
What? You can't just say that. I'm her biological father. I have the right to obtain paternal rights to her, you know.
Paternal rights? You really don't know how these things work, do you? If you want to get paternal rights, you need to be entitled to them in the first place.
What are you talking about?
There would also be the fact that you would be liable to all the child support that we never received over the years.
Ah, so this is about money in the end, isn't it? It's obvious that you're just using your child as a bargaining chip to get money out of me. How much do you want? I'll give it to you. I'm sure it'll be no skin off my back.
Oh, so you will give us money? Then how about around $4 million?
$4 million? That's absolutely crazy. You can't go around casually requesting huge amounts like that. What kind of child support equates to $4 million, even if it is 18 years worth?
What's the problem? Is your daughter not worth that much to you? We've raised our daughter so well that she's even on track to go to Harvard to study medicine and become a doctor. So don't you think we're entitled to that much for all we've done? And think about how much she's going to be worth in the future. It's a small price to pay, really.
However you look at it, that just isn't reasonable at all.
It's not reasonable because I'm making a statement here. I'm telling you that I'm not giving my daughter to anyone. Especially not to you, you piece of trash. You can keep your dirty money, thank you very much. I don't need a single penny of it. Even if you were to give me enough $100 bills to fill this entire cafe, I still wouldn't be willing to hand my daughter over to you, you disgusting human.
I don't know why you're acting so confident. I could sue you over this, you know. Do you think that I won't legally be able to get custody of my daughter? My own flesh and blood? What right do you have to decide whether you give her to me or not? If I sue you, it's the end for you and your husband. You're going to end up leaving empty-handed, I'm telling you.
Oh, really? Then I guess I'll just have to take legal action myself then. Should I start by revealing what you actually do for a living?
What are you talking about?
Well, first we can talk about how you set up a paper company as a subsidiary of your father's company as a front. And then we can talk about how you've been using that to embezzle money. And then finally, we can talk about how you traffic poor girls behind the scenes. I think that the court would be very interested to know about all that. Don't you?
How did you even find out about that?
The rich aren't the only people who can hire someone to tell you, you know. Should I take the evidence of everything I just mentioned to the police? Or should I just go directly to the press? I wonder who would pay the most for this dirt on you.
How dare you? Don't even think about it. Am I some kind of a joke to you? Do you think that I would just sit by and let you ruin my dad's company's image like that? I could make it so that you could disappear without a trace, without anybody even knowing about it.
Oh, really? Will it be me who disappears without a trace? Or will it be you in the end? I heard that your dad is having quite the headache keeping an eye on you. And if you hadn't tried to mess with my daughter, then you probably could have carried on living as you always have. You've always been nothing but a stumbling block and a thorn in your father's side, haven't you?
Do you really think he would hear you out about this? I'm his son. Of course he would choose to protect me.
You seem to be pretty confident about this. Let's see how it goes then, shall we?
You wouldn't dare. It seems like you're still underestimating me. But I'm telling you that I'm not going to stand by and let you do this.
Well, if you think you really can still get your way in all this, then by all means, go ahead and try. The moment that you try and lay a finger on my daughter, the truth about you is going to get plastered all over the internet in seconds. This isn't a bluff, so you had better watch how you tread here. It seemed that my daughter's biological father was actually quite affected by my threats, because he ended up running away. It really was quite pathetic how all I had to do was scratch the surface and he immediately revealed his true colors to me. I did start to worry that he might try and extract some kind of revenge through my daughter, so I decided that instead of waiting for him to try anything, I would just go ahead and reveal the information we found out about him to his dad through the paparazzo we had hired. We told them that if he even showed the slightest sign of appearing in front of us ever again, we would spread the truth about him to the media. The representatives for his dad's company apologized, saying they were sorry and would handle the situation. In the end, despite having loudly boasted about how confident he was about how his dad would take his side no matter what, that piece of trash quietly disappeared without a trace because his dad would rather have him out of the picture than have his reputation ruined. It seems that he was chased out of the country, and God only knows where he's living now. I just hope that it's somewhere very far away from us. I don't think that my daughter's life is going to be disrupted by her corrupt biological father ever again. She still doesn't know anything about this incident at all. She's preparing for college and is taking her final exam soon, so she really doesn't need any distractions in her life to throw off her concentration. We decided that it would be for the best to keep the whole thing a secret for now, and that we will tell her the truth about her biological parents when she's all grown up and has found her feet. To be honest, there's a part of me that thinks that maybe we're using all of this as an excuse and that deep in our hearts, my husband and I don't ever want to tell her that we are not her biological parents. However, we are aware that she deserves to know the truth about her origins, and we just hope that when the time to tell her does come, she will understand why we shielded her from the truth and that she will still love us as her parents. For now, we're just focusing on supporting her as she prepares to start her new, independent life, and we just want to give her the best foundations to strive towards the future of her dreams. Joy, my daughter. The moment you called me Mama, I was able to gather the confidence to really become your mother. Thank you so much for giving me the chance to be your mother. I am so grateful for you, and I love you more than anything. This is the end of the story. Thank you for listening, and thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more content.